All right, welcome everybody to a very special episode of Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 420. It's hard to believe that we've made it 420 episodes in, but here we are. We are on episode 420. Just really wanted to let you all know that it's episode 420. All right, gonna say hi to the guys. We got a couple of announcements. We were having a good laugh beforehand that it's episode 420. We're going to be keeping things pretty low-key today and just answering your questions as best we can or pointing you in the right direction like we do each week at Hump Day Hangouts. So with that said, before we jump into announcements, Chris, how you doing today?
Glad to be back from the, I don't know, not that, but like shopping, sure, ghosts. Lots of busy people like the last couple of days. Super crazy. I don't know, like it's because of there were lockdowns the last years, or like this year has just been super crazy here during Black Friday week. But yeah, like super happy to be here. We just had a meeting, and yeah, if you missed out on that Black Friday deal that we had, sorry.
Yeah, Local Fury, we just, like Chris was saying, had a meeting, and there's some good stuff coming. We're going to announce it here shortly once we get it rolled out to everybody in the system, and then we'll be letting people know, of course, about that. But some more good stuff coming after that. And also wanted to say, too, real quick, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's great. We appreciate it. You know, you can leave comments. But the Hump Day Hangout page is where we actively monitor for questions. So make sure you go to semanticmastery.com/HDHO. But if you're catching the replay or you're just now seeing this on YouTube, you can always subscribe to Semantic Mastery on YouTube, stay up to date, and you'll see these as well as all of the other videos we put out. So you can do that. But again, if you want to ask questions, make sure you go to semanticmastery.com/HDHO. Bradley, how you doing today?
What's up, man? Glad to be here. Hope everybody enjoyed their holiday last week. I certainly did. It wasn't long enough, it never is, but it was nice to have family together. We had family come out from all over. My sisters came with their kids, so I had all that. My daughter with her cousins were all together, and it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of cool stuff with the kids, and that's what it's all about. So, but this week now I'm overwhelmed because we tried to. I took 4 days off, Thursday through Sunday, and now it's just like if I take off to go anywhere else, it's like everything backs up. So it's almost like is the juice worth the squeeze? You know what I mean? Like taking the time off, we all need it, but then you come back and you're extra stressed. You know what I mean? So, but excited about everything that's going on. We had our corporate meeting yesterday, and we got just a lot of really good things going on that I can't wait to. I think 2023 is going to be a really big year for us. So, and hopefully you guys as well.
Well, speaking of something cool that happened was last week you did a webinar with Damon for booster pages, right?
Yes.
So that went over really well. We've gotten really good feedback from that. And we heard back from Damon, he extended the offer through Friday midnight. So people can still get a single payment lifetime option to booster pages. So if you're watching this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, check the link out down below. Go to semanticmastery.com/HDHO where the link is. I'm going to put the replay on there so you can go check that out with Bradley and Damon. But I'll also include the link directly to booster pages if you want to pick that up, because this is like the hair club for men, or what was that? Like, we're not only talking about it, we're also using it. Like Bradley picked up one for us, and then I had messaged him and said, "Hey, Bradley, like, I think we could use this for this, this, and this." He's like, "Yeah, no, I already picked it up."
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about what Damon's got going on with that. I don't now he advertises it as it's good for tier 1 links, and it may be, but I don't, the way that I build links to my projects, I don't recommend that. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I use booster pages. I love it. I've got 2 of my own accounts, and then we just bought another account for Semantic Mastery. So I definitely use it, but I use it as a tier 2 and tier 3 link source. And it's an automated way to build tier 2 and tier 3 links that are getting more powerful and are going to continue to get more powerful. I've been using this since January, guys. I didn't promote it. I've mentioned it a few times on Hump Day Hangouts, but we didn't do a promotion for it until last week because I was waiting for it to reach a certain threshold of kind of power. Like, in other words, and once he got it, I knew he'd explained to me before what he had planned for booster pages when I bought into it a year ago. And I bought into it 2 months before I could even use it because I trust Damon. I know he's got a good what him and Wayne Atkinson, his developer, do are phenomenal. They put out really good stuff. So on faith, I bought it. And I ended up buying 2 accounts before I could even use it. And then when I started using it in February, January, February, I think it was February. Anyway, when I started using it, I've been using it for months as an automated way to build tier 2 and tier 3 links to like blog sites, branded syndication network properties, for example, Press Advantage organization page, or the RSS feed from the media organization page, or the media room. For a while, I was doing Google Business posts as well, but Damon kind of killed that method because Google Business posts don't display properly sometimes. So, but long story short is I was waiting for it to reach a certain threshold of kind of where I started to see the backlinks from his pin sites and his blog sites and everything else starting to appear in Majestic backlink profile. The reason why I waited for that is because Majestic is unlike any of the other backlink analysis tools that are overly sensitive in that it only shows, well, it depends on what version of Majestic you're using. There's 2 link indexes in Majestic. There's what's called the fresh index, which is by default what they display. And then there's what's called the historic index. And the fresh index is its own, Majestic's own proprietary algorithm that determines it only displays links that are providing some sort of measurable value and that are somewhat current links, or when I say current, meaning they have not atrophied or decayed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, links that are placed that don't get any, there's varying degrees at how quickly a link will atrophy or decay in value. And there's a lot of different variables that determine how quickly one will decay, but a lot of that has to do with traffic and engagement to where the link is placed. So what I'm saying is if a link is placed and it doesn't get any traffic or engagement on the link, so no click activity, or the page that it's placed on gets no traffic, then that link will decay. And eventually it's basically becomes obsolete or ignored by Google because it's not providing any value. There's no traffic going to it. Nobody's ever exposed to it. There's no click activity. So it loses value over time. And so Majestic's fresh index only shows links that, according to its own algorithm, that are providing measurable value or have not decayed yet, okay? Which means they're still providing some value. So the point that I'm trying to make is the historic index is where it will show all the links that it has ever found pointing to that particular domain or URL, whatever your target is that you're analyzing with Majestic backlink analysis. So why I'm telling you all of this is because I always use the fresh index. I don't care about what's in the historic index because those links are insignificant. They're not providing any value. They're being ignored. So why bother analyzing those backlinks, which is part of the reason why like SEMrush and Ahrefs and a lot of the other links, none of those show topical relevance, number one, which is why I don't use them. But number two, they show every freaking link that has ever been built to that URL. And it's a bunch of noise. So much of that is junk that can be completely ignored. So that's another reason why I like to use Majestic. So the reason I told you all of that is because Majestic Fresh Index in October, all of a sudden started showing the backlinks from that when I analyzed my tier branded tier 1 assets or tier 2 assets, etc. I would started to see in October, the backlinks from booster pages in the fresh index just started in October. And now I'm starting to see it increase. And I know what Damon has planned for next year. They're really putting a lot of investment, guys, into the booster pages network. So all of that is to say, I fully endorse it. I expect it to get stronger and stronger. And it's, besides it being an automated, in my opinion, tier 2 and tier 3 link building source that is grouped by topical categories. They're not super topically relevant because they're not contextual links, but they're surrounded by other links and other content that is relevant, if that makes sense. So in the traditional sense, the links don't have topical trust flow that's why I don't build them directly to my tier 1 or tier 0 assets, the money site or Google Business assets directly, because they don't have topical trust flow, which is the metric that I actually care about. But it's perfect for tier 2 and tier 3, in my opinion. Besides the fact of what I said, the links are being kind of grouped by topical categories, which is important. They also generate traffic, like true, real engagement. And you can see that inside the booster pages dashboard because he's added a gamification component to it that encourages people to click, like, and share on the posts, on the pin sites and things like that. And you can see inside the dashboard the activity. So the point that I'm trying to make is this is also a great way to start kind of adding social signals, not spam, fake social signals that do nothing but waste money. These are real people engaging with these posts. And so again, it's just another kind of traffic and social type of signal that is automated or produced automatically, excuse me, by using booster pages. So if that's not a good enough endorsement for you guys to run out and purchase it with a lifetime opportunity, then nothing will sell you on that. Does that make sense? Can we move on?
Yeah, very cool. Sorry, I was checking out the page again. I know I'd mentioned this to you. We hadn't, and I apologize, I'd only watched part of the webinar. Did you talk about using this with YouTube stuff?
Yes. And in fact, it's really cool. There's a YouTube, all you got to do is put your channel URL in and it will automatically extract the RSS feed from the channel.
Oh, perfect.
And that's how I do all the link build, all the link stuff in booster pages. I do it all via RSS feed. You submit the RSS feed, you select the appropriate topical category, you submit it, you turn it on, and that's it. Done. Every time you publish a post on that property, it's going to automatically get backlinks to the booster page from the booster pages network. So again, guys, the best places I can talk about using this is the YouTube channel, as Adam just mentioned, which is why we bought it for Semantic Mastery, specifically for YouTube. Your branded syndication network properties, the RSS feeds from those, especially if you're syndicating content from your money site to those. So like Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, grab the RSS feeds from those, submit those to booster pages, Press Advantage organization page, or whatever press release service you're using. You typically are going to have a media room or an organization page most of them should have an RSS feed. That's another good one that you can do. All of those are like really valuable. If you build private blog sites for backlink purposes that are built with topical relevance, which is how you should do it. The RSS feeds from those are perfect for booster pages. So, but what I love about it, like I said, guys, it's hands-free, set and forget.
Very nice. So I just have one more quick thing. Wanted to let everyone know too. As usual, you probably hear about it. We talk about the mastermind, what's going on there, and just wanted to throw a quick blurb in. Sorry, I think last week I had mentioned we update a little bit. So if you're not familiar with how it works, kind of what you get, what all is included beyond just being part of a group, because there's a lot more to it. Head over to mastermind.semanticmastery.com and check it out. So we've got all of it up there as far as how the webinars work, how many they are, what courses you get access to, what's in the group, all that sort of good stuff. So for those of you who are doing local SEO, whether you have an agency, small, large, whether you're a consultant, but if that's what you're interested in and that's what you want to grow, then the Mastermind is the place for you. So go check it out, mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Cool. Yeah, just saw the comment. Sweet, another 420 to celebrate.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it just sucks. It took us 8 years?
Yeah, it took us 8 years and 4 weeks to get to the 420th episode, but this is another 420 to celebrate. I was just making a joke with Adam. I was like, I should have gotten stoned. I was like, no, because then I wouldn't be able to answer questions.
Well, speaking of, let's do it then. Let's jump in. We don't have a ton of questions today.
No, we don't.
So after the holidays, it's always slow coming back.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not seeing much here. So
I think Happy Soul about, hey guys, are Bradley's rebuilds suitable?
Yeah, I think what I might do is actually go back to the last week, just because there was one question last week that I missed, and that it's above the waving.
Oh, yeah.
That's not, I thought that was supposed to be, that must be one of those, what they call deep fakes or whatever, like, because that's not Tom Hanks from.
Oh, you're right.
That's somebody else's face on him.
Interesting.
Anyway, sorry, you guys don't even probably know what the fuck I'm talking about. Let me grab the screen. There's one question that I missed last week, so I'll go ahead and cover that.
Cool.
And we'll move on because we don't have any questions anyways. And guys, if we've got to wrap it up early, so be it. I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So no big deal. Okay. So yeah, this one is the one that I missed last week. Would it be a good idea to create a network of YouTube channels for different niches to rank client videos, kind of like a PBN for videos, thinking to offer something for smaller businesses that can't afford SEO, but wanted opinions? Your opinions, as I remember you guys did a heap of video stuff a while back. If so, what would be your recommended route to get going? Okay. Yeah. I think that is a good strategy. And I did that actually for years. I did that. I built several YouTube channels with a whole bunch of syndication networks that were attached or triggered by an upload to the YouTube channel. Okay. We teach that at Syndication Academy, using IFTTT as the trigger mechanism. But So I had done several of them. I had a channel called Contract. I still have the channels. I just don't really do much with them anymore. But for years, I sold video SEO wholesale to a video production company. It was also did local web design and video production company that are local to me in an adjacent town. They sold websites and they sold videos, local small business, local business type videos. They would go out with the film crew and film the videos and do all the edits, and they did a really good job. And anyways, they were a one and done type of service. In other words, they would sell a website, one-time fee. They would sell a video, one-time fee. They might sell, a couple of videos over the course of a few years to a business, but that was it. And so I actually sold, I did some outreach to some video production companies, and this was several years ago, and basically told them like, hey, look, you're selling videos. I could, what are you doing? But what do you do with the video once you sell it to them? Are you promoting it? Are you ranking it? Are you running it? At the time, I wasn't running ads. It eventually evolved in also running YouTube ads for the videos, because that works really well. I do that for clients now to this day. I run YouTube ad campaigns for clients. But anyways, I would contacted video production companies and said, look, here's a way that you can turn your one and done sale into recurring revenue, which is sell them on video SEO services. Right now you get monthly recurring. And what I did was I charged $100 setup fee for each video, and then $100 per month per video to rank, or per keyword. Because sometimes I'd use the same video and rank it for 5 keywords. And then I would do like a package deal and say, okay, I'll do 5 keywords for $400 a month, if that makes sense, something like that. But and it would be the same video. It's called video spinning, where you just change the file slightly and then change out the keywords and then use the same video over and over again. And that worked great. What I did was I had a channel called Virginia Hangouts, which back in the day, it was called Google Hangouts. It's not anymore, but we used to use Google Hangouts and Hangouts on Air and all that kind of stuff. So I called the channel called Virginia Hangouts, and that was specifically for Virginia businesses, because the video production company that I was selling wholesale to, which by the way, they sold the setup fee for, I think, $350. They only paid me $100. They charged $225 per month to rank the video. I charged $100. So they were actually making more money than I was from it. But I didn't have to go out and sell the clients. It was their clients. I didn't have to do any prospecting and sales. My point of contact was them, like the production company. And they did all the management and client communication and selling and everything else. So it was beautiful. And at any given time for about 4 years, I had on average about 35 videos with them. So that was $3,500 a month. And it was relatively hands off. I mean, occasionally I'd have to boost stuff. But I tell you all that because it is a good strategy. I had that one. I had another channel called Contractor Hangouts, which worked. I used for any sort of promoting of contractor videos of any sort of contractor. So I had about 4 different channels. Those were 2 of them that I would use to do this very specifically for, and it worked great. You can plug a whole bunch of syndication networks to a YouTube channel. There's no limit to how many you can actually attach to a YouTube channel. And then every time you upload a video, it automatically kind of syndicates or cascades out across all of the properties in that network. And that was really good. However, and that does still absolutely help with ranking in Google. Ranking in YouTube, though, is more about signals engagement than it is SEO. I mean, there's still some basic SEO stuff that you need to do, like the title, description, tags, things like that. Those are all still important for ranking. But it's ranking in YouTube is more about engagement signals than it is just about, when I say that, you still have to do some, like I said, SEO stuff. But in Google, it still really matters to get a mix of backlinks and embeds and also some engagement signals. So it does work. I do recommend that you theme your channels so that they're more relevant within specific topical categories. That does help. It does help with the SEO in Google, not as much in YouTube, but more in Google, if that makes sense. And then something else you can do is you can use playlists as a way to kind of add more relevance to videos, because you can create playlists based on geography, for example, or by topical category. But if you have a topical channel, right, that's all the videos on the channel are based around one type of topical or business category, then you can use playlists within that channel as a way to add more geographic relevance to videos, if that makes sense. Anyway, a lot of the stuff, I'm doing a hell of a lot more YouTube stuff now, guys. I mentioned this before. We Semantic Mastery joined Daryl Eves' channel Jumpstart, which is a lot more about triggering the YouTube algorithms. It's plural, not one, but there's many YouTube algorithms, and getting exposure from YouTube than it is about like traditional SEO. It's different. Very, very great program. I'm super happy with the program already, and I'm learning a whole lot about YouTube. But I'm also doing more just kind of general YouTube stuff. 2023 is going to be a big year for us in YouTube. I promise you that. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm starting right now that we're going to be rolling out and starting in January of 2023. That is going to be YouTube stuff. So I will probably, for you that asked this question, I will probably be doing a lot more YouTube training next year, starting in the first quarter of next year. So might be a good opportunity. That might be a really long pitch for me to say, come join the mastermind. but seriously, I mean that, because I'm going to be doing a lot more YouTube stuff starting in January of 2023. And so because that's how I run the mastermind, guys. Whatever I'm focusing the most of my attention on is what I do the most teaching on. And it's just because that's what I'm doing the most at the time. So I think YouTube is going to be a really big focal point for me next year, on top of the local SEO and all the other stuff that we do. But I'm really digging YouTube, and there's just so much potential in YouTube that we've underutilized all these years. So, and for local too, not just for us at Semantic Mastery, but I'm talking about in local too. There's a lot of things that can be done with YouTube. So I'm trying to develop more methods now that will be effective. And when I have enough data, if I prove it out and it's successful, and I can repeat it and make it, be successful with the methods multiple times, then that's when I'll teach on it. So I expect about another month, 4 to 6 weeks before I'm ready to start doing that. But it's a great strategy. I still encourage you to do that. Instead of doing video SEO, like I would also do video SEO, but I would really encourage you, though, it's so much more scalable to learn how to do YouTube ads on a local level, because you can still also optimize and try to rank the videos. But one of the best things you can do, and it's so much easier to manage, is if you learn how to do YouTube ads on a local level and set up a proper audience segmenting or targeting, all of that kind of stuff, because that will also help or augment the SEO efforts, as well as provide exposure for people that aren't actually searching, but might have an interest. Again, in Google Ads, they have audience segments that you can select, predefined audience segments, like in-market audiences, for example, or they call them segments, in-market segments, or life event segments, for example. Those are buckets of Google users that Google has already predefined are likely in the market for specific products or services. You can select that as an audience and then have your videos appear in front of those people that meet that criteria. It doesn't matter whether they searched for a particular term or not. Google has determined that they're likely in market for that product, for a product or service. So therefore your video can serve to them. And that's, again, on top of video SEO, that is something that you can use that can significantly improve the effect of the video, right? As well as the exposure, and that's really what the whole point of video SEO or ranking videos for clients is, right? Is exposure and leads. Well, you can do that even when somebody's not searching particularly for that search query, but Google has determined they're likely in market. So they still see the ad, and they'll see it repeatedly, because unless you have your limits set in the ad campaign where like you only want it to show impression or view limits and things like that, which I don't recommend, they're going to keep seeing that ad as long as they're in that audience bucket that Google has already defined. And you can define your own audience buckets too, by the way, in Google Ads. So the point that I'm trying to make is that I use Google. That's how I use YouTube ads for my clients now, is we run ads to people in a specific geographic area that we either use predefined audiences or we create our own audience. And that keeps what I call it branding campaigns. They're just a video. Usually I get them made on Fiverr, that just constantly plays in front of people that are likely in the market for those products or services in that specific geographic area. And what that does is it keeps that brand top of mind, so that when the prospect, when somebody is ready for that to make a purchase for that product or service, it's an indirect lead generation method, right? Because hopefully, because they've been exposed to that brand over and over and over again via YouTube, whether they were searching for it or not, they say, oh yeah, now I'm ready for whatever. And they'll remember the company, right? Or at least that's the goal. And then they might go to Google and search for the company by name, which is a great signal. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I call it an indirect lead generation model or lead gen model or method, because it's rare that we actually get a lead, a conversion from a YouTube ad for a local lead. But it is, we have heard from clients that I run branding campaigns for, those clients that ask, like, how did you hear about us first? They'll say, oh, we kept seeing your video on YouTube, so I searched you out on Google. Well, that's great, because now you're getting the branded search and click that came from YouTube exposure, if that makes sense. So I think it's a great strategy, guys. Guys, think about this. There's so much opportunity if you learn how to optimize YouTube videos, not just optimize, because that specifically for SEO, but if you learn how to do YouTube videos well for local clients, there's a huge gap in the marketplace for people that know how to do that. Does that make sense? How to use YouTube effectively for local businesses. So that's a great strategy, I think, if you can figure it out and make it work. YouTube ads, SEO, combination of both, whatever. Okay. So for a question last week, it was a good one. Moving on. Happy Soul. Hey guys, are Bradley's rebuilds suitable to help rank affiliate articles? It can be, yeah. Look, link building is link building. Topically relevant links are what matters for ranking in organic search, period. Full stop. Okay. Doesn't matter if it's local, regional, national, global, affiliate, e-com. It doesn't matter what kind of site it is. If you want to rank in organic search, topically relevant links are what matters. So that's what I sell. Topically relevant links. My service is designed more specific or geared more specifically towards local, because that's what I do, is local SEO. I don't do affiliate SEO. It doesn't mean that my links won't work for that. They're topically relevant links. Again, if you want to rank in organic search, whether it's local or global, it doesn't matter, period. Topically relevant links matter. So yes, my links will help with that. I would still do the exact same sort of link analysis that I do for local projects, which would be to analyze the top ranked competitors for whatever search query it is that you want to rank for, analyze all of their backlinks, figure out what the average anchor text ratio is across the top ranked competitors, the number of links that they have, identify what their most valuable and topically relevant, the links that are producing the most measurable value, figure out what those are, and then create a list. And that's what we have to meet and exceed in order to perform better than those competitors. And that's purely on an off-page basis. You have to take on-page, entity, all like the entity itself, on-page, all of that has to be taken into account, but purely on an off-page link building, purely based on off-page or link, backlink profile. That's the methodology that I use, and it will absolutely work for affiliate as well. Generally, depending on the query though, it just usually takes more links. But yeah, that's something that, again, can be done either via subscription or you can purchase it. Like the way I try to describe this to people is semantic link subscriptions are totally done for you, hands off on your side, unless you want to be involved. I have links, you can purchase links from like Vetted, for example, or you can do one-off purchases inside the semantic links dashboard. That's more like a do-it-yourself type of link building, or done with you. In other words, you tell me what the target URLs and the anchor texts are that you want, and we go out and place those on topically relevant domains with topically relevant content. But we do what you tell us to, because you provided the target URLs and the anchor text. With the subscription model or the subscription service, we handle all of it. I mean, we ask for target URLs and desired anchor text as a starting point, and we always start with that because that's what you tell us is the priority. But then we analyze the project more holistically and determine where are there opportunities elsewhere on the site to build links that is being underutilized. Right? Where there's strategic points on the site that we can push link equity and topical relevance that will help the entire site rise up in the search results. Where they say Network Empire used to call that buoyancy, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. So if you push link equity and topical relevance into strategic points on a site, it can actually help the entire site get better results or perform better in search. Does that make sense? So we have my monthly link building clients, when they first subscribe, they tell us the target URLs and anchor text that they desire. And we always use that as a starting point. We prioritize that because that's what they told us they want us to prioritize. But then after usually the first month, or sometimes depending on the subscription, sometimes it'll be 2 months, then we start kind of analyzing the project more holistically and defining other places that we can build links that are going to make the whole project perform better. Because sometimes our people, they think that they know what they need in order to rank, and they're wrong. And it's not, I'm not slighting anybody for that. They just don't know. You know what I mean? I spend so many hours per day this entire year, 2022, analyzing backlink profiles. I've gotten really good at it. So that's why, like I said, I try to provide consultation and guidance on link building too. Okay. But yeah, by the way, do you want to schedule a call with me? Sure. You can certainly do that. Just go to semanticlinks.io. You can schedule a call with me. Okay. But only if you're planning on buying links, guys. Jesus Christ. Don't schedule an hour of my time just to shoot the shit. Okay. Like, I'm sorry. I gotta throw that out there, because I have had, in the last few weeks, I've had a few people ask me to do audits, which it takes a full hour of my time to do an audit. And I realize now that all they were doing was scamming me to get a free audit. And so I've got to be a little bit more vigilant about who I agree to give audits to, or I'm just going to have to start charging for the audits, which is likely what I'm going to do. Okay. Because then the only time you're going to ask for an audit is if you are truly interested in working with me, right? Hopefully that makes sense. What is the best type of backlink? Forum, guest post, niche, etc. if I'm trying to build more branded anchor text? Also, I know Bradley is in favor of topically relevant backlinks. Is it okay for them not to be all topically relevant? Yeah, okay. So for local projects, yeah, again, topical relevance matters for ranking and organic. But if you're ranking for local projects too, locally or geographically relevant links are what matter most for maps ranking. Okay. So getting links from local or geographically relevant sources, a lot of the times those aren't going to be topically relevant links, but it doesn't matter because they're geographically relevant. How does Google know they're geographically relevant? What does that mean? Well, that means that they're links from properties that are part of a local entity that is in close proximity physically to the local entity of your target, right? Your asset, right? Does that make sense? Doesn't matter, like, because I've had this question come up in sales calls. If there's in Culpeper, Virginia, which is where I am, if I have a business a website in Culpeper and a business that I'm trying to rank, and I get a link from a company, another local entity in the same general area in Culpeper, right? But their website is hosted in a server in California. How is that a locally relevant link? I've got that question. I've had it asked a few times. How is that geographically relevant? If it's hosted in California, that's not a local link. No. But it's a link from an asset that is owned by an entity that is local to and close in proximity and physical distance to the target asset, right? The target entity. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, in other words, it doesn't matter where the site is hosted. It could be freaking hosted in Australia, and it doesn't matter if the site is part of the local entity that is local to you or your project. And it's so in other words, like, if I have, I talk about, my industry's tree service stuff. So let's say a tree service company in a Google Business Profile and website. So, a local business tree service contractor here in Culpeper, Virginia. Let's say that they cut down a tree for a personal injury attorney, a law firm in Culpeper, and they get a link from the law firm website. Okay, thank you, like a thank you message, right? Okay, just want to give a shout out to Benner's Tree Service for coming and taking that tree down in our parking lot, whatever, our practice, our law firm's parking lot, whatever. Just throwing this out there as an example. The topical relevance of that link, if it's coming from a attorney's website, is probably going to be the topical trust flow category is probably going to be society/law, which is the most appropriate from it. That's typically what it's going to be. Linking to a site that should be, for a tree service contractor, the most appropriate categories are business, construction and maintenance, business, agriculture and forestry, or home/gardening. Those are the three most appropriate topical categories. So getting a link from society/law, that's not relevant topically. But if it's a local law firm again, I don't care if their site is hosted in, Japan for, whatever. It doesn't matter. Google understands that the link is coming from a site that is tied to a local law firm that is local, close in proximity to Benner's tree service, right? As an example. So what I'm saying is getting local links is what really matters for ranking in maps, okay? Geographically relevant links. It has a significant effect on maps, regardless of the topical relevance. It's about the geography, if that makes sense, okay? So that's where I say it's okay to build links back to your sites that aren't topically relevant. I wouldn't do it any other way, though. Does that make sense? If I'm going to purposefully build a link to a site, it's going to either be 100% topically relevant or it's going to be geographically relevant, or a combination of both, which is difficult to do. Does that make sense? Now, I have started developing a way to build locally relevant, or how to secure locally relevant backlink sources. I just started testing with this about 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to be doing some teaching about that in the mastermind, maybe tomorrow. Although I just had I had a developer of a service that I use a lot reach out to me yesterday and ask if I would do some training for him for his app. It's funny as hell. He reached out to me. He's like, man, I keep getting questions from our members about training, and I don't have, is there any way you could do it for me? I swear to God, he offered me his opportunity, and I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. So I think tomorrow for the mastermind webinar, I'm going to spend a significant portion of it starting on that training. It's going to take me a couple of times to do that, but I found a really good method, in fact, that will apply to this developer that asked me to do some training for him, because that's one of the strategies that I am using for this local link source method. So it does kind of tie into that. So I plan on doing some teaching on that. I'm still waiting to see some results on some of that, but I found a really good way to build, to find domains that are available for registration that are locally relevant, meaning geographically relevant, which is going to be huge for maps. Now, I can't believe I waited until the end of November. I've been building semantic links this entire year, 2022. And I just kind of figured out a way to do that within the last couple of weeks to secure local links. I tell link building clients or prospects on sales calls, I say, look, we focus on the semantic links, the topically relevant links. We tell you as the consultant or the agency owner to focus on helping your clients secure local links, because it's hard to scale. But if my method turns out that I've been working on turns out to be effective, which I expect it will be, but I have to wait for the data to come back, that's going to change things. That's going to actually give me the ability to not only sell topically relevant links, but also geographically relevant links, which will be huge for maps ranking. So, so yeah, as far as what is the best type of link to build, topically relevant links, period. Like, again, either geographically relevant or topically relevant links. As far as forum, guest posts, etc., none of that matters as to where the links come from. What matters to me is it coming from a source that is relevant, meaning is the topical relevance of the page, the referring page, as well as what is the prominent, topical categories of the referring domain as well. In some cases, again, don't get me wrong, guys. When I mentioned that I only build links that are 100% topically relevant, that's the links that we build. But there is still value in getting links from topically relevant referring pages where the referring domain might not be 100% relevant or even relevant. There's still value from those links, just not as much. We got enough time. Let me just demonstrate this really quick, what I'm talking about. My favorite tool. This is my favorite SEO tool right now, On Page AI. There's no question. Love this tool. This is what I'm talking about here, okay? This is the link relevance tool inside of On Page AI. So this is Google's NLP API. It integrates with Google's NLP API. It's done automatically. You don't have to put your own API key in there. That's part of the reason why this tool is so damn expensive, because this tool right here, the link relevancy tool, does it does one API call for the target URL and then 2 API calls for every backlink pointing to that URL. What am I talking about, right? Okay, so Google's NLP, what it does is when it comes to scan a page that either you submit to Search Console for crawling and indexing, or Google discovers it naturally or organically. The Google bot comes and crawls the page, and NLP, which is now a layer on top of the core algorithm, determines what the topical categories are and classifies the content, the main content area of the page, not the header, sidebar, footer, but the main content area of the page. It determines what the topical categories are. And then it assigns a confidence score to what those topical categories are that it identified in the main content area of the page. Then what it does is it applies that same method to all of the backlinks pointing to that page and scans those backlinks and runs them through Google's NLP and determines what are the topical categories of the main content area of those referring pages. And it looks for a relevance match. Then it does the exact same thing once again for each of the referring domains and determines what are the prominent or primary topical categories of the referring domain itself, right? Not just the page, but the domain. What are the primary topical categories of the domain? And what you want, the best kind of link is one that has 100% topical relevance match all the way through. Like in this particular example, this Diggity marketing link right here, you can see it's 100% topical relevance match, both at the page level, referring page level, and referring domain level. That link right there is providing full measurable value. I don't give a shit what the Ahrefs metrics are, or the Moz metrics are. I don't care about that. What matters is this link right here is 100% topically relevant. That link is providing full value. Alternatively, or conversely, on the other side of the spectrum is this one up here that has 0 relevance match. That means this link is being completely ignored by Google. It doesn't mean that it's toxic. It could be toxic, but it doesn't, just because it's not relevant doesn't mean it's harmful or toxic. It just means it's being ignored because there's no relevance match. And Google does this algorithmically now, guys. Like it used to be a manual spam review team that would do this. This is now done algorithmically. Why did they do that? They did this specifically to start fighting link spam, right? If there's not and so there are varying degrees at how much value or weight that link is given by Google, and it depends on its relevance match. So again, like as an example, you see this next link right here has 100% relevance match at the referring page level, but at the referring domain level, it's 2 out of 3 categories are a match. So that's 67% of its full value. So at the domain level. So there is a slight decrease in value from this link over what it could have been had it been a 100% relevance match all the way through. There's a slight decrease in value. How much? I don't know, but it just means there's a little bit of loss, link loss, right? Does that make sense? A little bit of equity loss because it's not 100% topically relevance match, but it's still providing damn near full value. But then something like this one, right? This one here, you can see this link here has 100% topical relevance match at the referring page level. But at the referring domain level, it's 1 out of 3. So this one is slightly less effective than this one. Do you get it? And then if you have another one like this one, which is odd, it's odd to see a no relevance match at the page level, but then a relevance match at the domain level. That's kind of odd. You don't see that very often. But this link right here is receiving even less value. Because again, the referring page, especially if the referring page is, if it's not relevant, a topical relevance match at the referring page, then it's not a good link, period. Even if because again, the link isn't coming from the domain, it's coming from the page, but the page is published on the domain. Do you understand? So the page should be where the relevance, the referring page should always be relevant, period. If you're building links on pages or placing links on pages that don't have topical relevance to what you're linking to, why even place that link? It doesn't make sense. It's a waste of time and effort. Or money, right? Contextual link means the link is within context, meaning the content around the link should be relevant to what it is linking to. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm saying, like, again, this is a great tool. It's my favorite tool on the market right now, period. Hands down. I love this tool. This is what started the Semantic Links business, was this tool right here and this methodology, which I owe it to Eric Lancheres. Can't stress enough how this was really transformative to me. When he released this tool and I understood this concept, I was like, holy shit, this is the missing component. This is why links have not been working. I started applying this method. Sure enough, it started working. So what I'm saying is there is still value from links that are only relevant at the referring page level, but they're not as valuable as they could be. So when I try to build links, guys, I try to make sure there's a relevance match all the way through. But if you get links placed on pages that are relevant, but the domain isn't relevant, should you just completely ignore those? No, because they still can provide value, just not as much. Do you get what I'm saying? I love this topic, though. I truly do love this topic because it's I do these I did 2 sales calls today. I do a lot of freaking sales calls for semantic links. It's almost goes on autopilot. And it's amazing how many of the SEO agencies and consultants that I talk to for selling semantic links on these sales calls that I hear audible gasps when I explain what I just explained to you guys. Like, they're like, holy crap. Yes, this makes total sense now. And again, it's like, this is the way link building should be, is in my opinion. And it makes sense because it's all about relevance. Google can now very quickly algorithmically devalue links that aren't relevant, that aren't a relevance match. And it totally makes sense why they're doing that. Okay. So again, all those third-party metrics, by the way, Majestic's metric is third-party. Google doesn't give a damn about Majestic's metrics either. But Majestic has topical trust flow, which is a pretty good indication of the topical relevance of a backlink profile. It's not perfect, it's flawed, but it's pretty damn good. And that's Google uses, its NLP categories are very, very closely aligned to Majestic's topical trust flow categories. If you've ever looked at Majestic's topical trust flow categories, they're very similar to the topical trust flow category, or excuse me, the topical categories from Google's NLP. So that's why I know it's a good match. It's a good service. Majestic is a great analysis tool for topical relevance. Okay. Love that subject. Love that comment or question. Okay. Question from YouTube. What would you say are your top 3 go-to link building methods for local SEO, and how would you recommend implementing them? Okay. So again, a mix of topically relevant links to help with organic, which has a slight influence on maps ranking as well. Then the other method, hands down, for ranking locally, you said for ranking local SEO, is securing local links. Again, here are some ways that I have been recommending to my link building clients on helping their clients, because my clients are agencies and consultants. So I tell my link building clients, because it's a white label service, that to tell their client or to help their clients secure local links. Where do you do that? How can you do that? Well, as I said, I'm working on a method to be able to do this yourself in a scalable way. And I'm going to be teaching on that maybe tomorrow inside the mastermind. If not, it'll be in 2 weeks or next week. By the way, we missed last week was supposed to be the mastermind webinar, but it got pushed to this week because of Thanksgiving holiday. So, all right. But what I've been recommending for local link sources right now are local chamber of commerce. That's an easy one usually, but generally you have to join the chamber of commerce, but it's a powerful link because the chamber of commerce domain itself is high authority. And then there's the local component to it too. So that, yeah, you have to pay to be a member of the local chamber of commerce, but it's a very valuable link for ranking in maps. So I do recommend paying, even if you never go to the local chamber of commerce meetings or anything else, just pay to be a part of it. It also can get business to you from their local, to the business from local clients because they're in the chamber directory and all that kind of stuff. So there is value there. Sponsorships for charitable organizations, little league teams, parks and recs teams, schools. So being a sponsor of any one of those, you can get links from local entities, local news and media sites, local event sites, doing link exchanges with other businesses in the same local area. So how would you do that? Well, if there's vendors that the business does business with in the local area, just asking, hey, would you want to do a link exchange? That absolutely works. And I know people say reciprocal links kill link equity or whatever. Maybe it does. Fine. If reciprocal links kills link equity, so be it. But it still helps rank in maps. So I don't care. You know, if we do link exchanges or whatever, it still helps to rank in maps. So I don't care if there's a reciprocal link or not. If you're doing link exchanges with other local businesses. So that's if you already have vendors that you do business with in the local area that your clients do business with. But you could also join or have your business, your clients join local like lead share groups, meetup.com, things like that. And go to lead share groups and then pitch that, right? Hey, we can all help each other here by just linking to each other's websites. We're all local businesses. That helps. That helps to rank in maps. So those are all ways to do it. Certainly it would be easier if we could do it from behind our computer screen at home without having to talk to a bunch of different local businesses and ask and all that kind of shit, which is precisely why I'm trying to develop a method for that, which I think I've discovered it, but I've got more testing to do before I want to teach on it. So great question though. How would you go about implementing them? I just told you. So You asked for 3 though. I gave you 2: topically relevant links, locally relevant links. And how would you recommend implementing them? Well, I did mention how I would implement them. And then the last thing, it's not really a link building method, but is, in social engineering or doing something to create some sort of viral, nature. That can be huge for local businesses too, even if it's like a local thing. So press releases, if you have something of news value, like newsworthy value, and getting guys, we all do press releases, right? We're all SEOs, so we use press releases. But do you then use the press release to contact local news and media sites and try to get that press release that we can all publish easily? But can you get it featured on a local newspaper site, or like literally get it published as a local news story, or get it at least published on their website? That kind of stuff can really help, because now again, you're getting links back from local entities such as news and media stations, as well as it will drive traffic. So you asked about links, and you can get a link from doing that. So you can publish a normal press release like you normally would, and then take the published press release and contact the local news and media stations and promote and you pitch that release, try to get them to publish it. And then you get a link back to your client site, and it's the traffic. The link itself is valuable, but you will get local traffic from that. That local traffic is invaluable. That local traffic will help that business to rank better than even the link will. It's a combination of the both. The local link, and then the click activity from local people, right? People that are local, how does Google know? Well, because everybody's on their phone. Google knows where they are. They click that link. Now that click activity from locals clicking through a local link that's published on a local, another local entity. That is a huge signal for ranking in maps, especially. So there you go. Okay. Hey guys, for service business, should you have one site-wide schema, or should you have custom schema for your different services on each page? No, you should not have site-wide schema. That is confusing to Google, guys. You shouldn't have site-wide schema because it's confusing to Google. What is the main entity of the page, the primary focal point of the page, right? If you have site-wide schema that's on every page, doesn't that dilute the effectiveness of what any one page should have? Like, because Google doesn't know, if you put local business schema site-wide across every single page, what is each page about, right? So the short answer is no. You shouldn't have global schema. Like local business schema should be on the homepage or the entity home, whatever you designate that as. The entity home is generally going to be the homepage for a single location business. If it's a multi-location business, then I would recommend organization, or even more appropriately, corporation schema on the homepage, and then local business schema on the individual local location landing pages for each separate location. So it has its own specific local business schema on each location page, and corporation schema or organization, but I recommend corporation schema on the homepage, if that makes sense. And then for like service pages, you would have service schema, right? You could have service schema. You could have other elements too, like, web page schema, and you could mark up specific elements within the page. But what's important, and I'm doing a lot of audits for Local Fury, and I see this all the time, and this isn't anybody's fault, guys, but it's the page builders that we use now, and a lot of the themes and things like that inject schema for different elements of the pages. So like if you go analyze in the schema validator, your homepage, for example, if you're using Elementor, or if you're using plugins like Rank Math, or God forbid, Yoast, or something like that, if you go analyze you'll see that there's things marked up like headings, navigation. There will be sometimes object, like video objects or image objects, or article markup, web page markup. There will be all these different schema types, but they're not connected properly. And again, that ambiguates what is the main entity of the page. What should Google prioritize when it crawls that schema of that page? What is the main point that we're trying to get across about this page? Does that make sense? Like if you have different separate pieces of schema, separate instances of schema on the page, then what is the primary? What should be prioritized by Google? That's where connected data items come in. If you learn how to connect schema, which I don't know how to do manually. Rob Beal from the Heavy Hitter Club is hands down the best. He's a savant when it comes to that stuff. Rob Beal from, again, the Heavy Hitter Club, former kind of partner of ours at Semantic Mastery. He's phenomenal with that stuff. He's like a savant, no kidding. I can't do schema manually. I've got to do it using an app. I use schemaapp.com. I still use that today because it connects data items properly. That way you can have everything marked up on a page, but they're not separate instances of schema. They're all connected properly with the main entity, the primary entity of the page being designated, so that when Google comes across everything, it understands what you're trying to convey. Like, hey, here's all the different elements that I want you to take notice of, but the primary entity of this page is this element or this type. Does that make sense? So, you know, again, global schema is never recommended because it confuses Google. It doesn't know what it's supposed to do. So again, organization or corporation schema on the homepage if it's a multi-location business, with individual local business schema on each location page. If it's a single location business, then generally it's going to be location or local business schema, on the homepage, or whatever you designate as the entity home, which can be an about page. It doesn't have to be the homepage, but it generally is going to be the homepage. By the way, guys, go to schemaapp.com, whether you subscribe to their tool or not. They've got really good training about schema too. They've got a YouTube channel also, so you guys can check that out. We're just about done. So Scott Walker, nice. He says, hey guys, I purchased the booster pages on Friday. It is very easy to work with. Yes, it is. I really do like that service a lot. It's me now that you mentioned it. Oh, he's talking about the waving, not Tom Hanks. Do you have a good process for ranking on YouTube already? Kind of. You know, I haven't done a whole lot of video SEO in the last several years because I focus more on ads for that, because it's just so much easier to scale. But more recently, I have, in the last few weeks, seriously, I've been working a lot more with YouTube SEO also. I'm working on some training stuff right now in partnership with Peter Drew. And so I've been doing a lot of stuff with his tools right now in testing. So again, I don't have any kind of like new or current training about YouTube SEO stuff in the Mastermind yet, but as I mentioned, it's becoming a very, very big part of what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching on that starting in 2023, like probably in January of 2023. Be on the lookout. You guys will know, because we're going to do a lot with YouTube and Semantic Mastery in 2023 for sure. Okay. What would the content for the videos be for a local business like a plumber or window cleaner? Are they stock videos or stock images? I get them done on Fiverr. I'll show you guys some of the ones that I've got done. And I vary on the money that I've spent on this before. Let's see. Here's when I bought several from this person here. And you can see they're not bad. I don't know if it's a female or a male, but how do I get to that fucking order again? Maybe right there. That's probably it. Nope, that's not it. Let's try that. I've used this one a few times. Not very expensive. I usually go for the 60-second videos. So about $70. I don't let them write the script though. I write the script and give it to them. And then I tell them, you know, name, address, phone number, logo. I give them all that stuff so that they can put all that in there. And I give them the script, and then they do the videos. And these work pretty good. These are what I use for branding videos, stuff like this. Okay. This is just one. Just go to Fiverr, guys, and look for videos like this. That's all you need to do. You know, I've spent anywhere, but like this is actually pretty inexpensive. That's why I've used this one a lot more recently. But I've spent as much as $350 on a video, and it wasn't much better than this one, if that makes sense. So I usually go with these, and I go with the 60-second videos for YouTube ad stuff. Okay. I think we're done. The above's regarding YouTube videos. Yep.
We got, yep.
That's it. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We will see you guys next week.
Adios.